So, all right, everybody, we are here again, and in this one, I'm going to be talking about something called template. So, if you look closely, we have been able to render a HTML page and all that, but this is not quite effective since we have to write HTML inside here. So, if you want to write a whole doc type HTML page, we have to do doc type HTML and all that stuff, which is going to overpopulate our views page. So, what we're going to be doing is we're going to have an external file that is going to be handling all the HTML stuff. So the fast way to do this and the easy way is I'm going to go over here to my project where I have the manage.py folder. Manage.py file. I'm going to create a folder and just call this templates. So now in here I can put in different templates, or like should I say different HTML type of files in here. So I can create a new file and just call this index.html, and over here I'm just going to get the boilerplate HTML. I'm not going to be teaching HTML extensively here, but if you already know what I'm talking about, just follow along. So over here in the body, we just want to as well display HTML page. So I'm just going to go here, create a h1 tag, and just say hello from templates page. I think that should be good. We go back to our views.py, and in order to render this HTML page, as you can see, it's in our templates folder. So we go back to our views.py. Remember, our views.py is in the base folder, and inside here, instead of sending a normal response, I'm just going to return a render. Okay, so now this render here is imported by default by Django. That is it up here from Django, the shortcut import render. So that function helps us to pass in a kind of template name, and it just brings out the template for us. So in here in the render, we're going to pass in some parameters. The first one is going to be our request. So the request that was sent to this view is going to be passed in at first. Then the next thing, as you can see, is the template name. And the template name in our case is index.html. I know you may be saying, no, you have to do template / index.html because it's in the templates folder. But by default, if you go over here to my website, go back to settings.py, and you scroll down to, I think, templates. Over here in the directories, you can see that there's an empty square brackets there. And over here, you can see app direct, which is equals to true. So what this is essentially saying is that this templates folder here, we are not supposed to create it here. We're supposed to create in the base folder. So if I drag that in there and I just move that, as you can see, I have my server running. I'm just going to break it and run it again. So hopefully, if I go to a route, remember, I can have a route like this. And if I press enter, you get to see hello from the templates page, because it has rendered that template because apps directories is true. So it's going to look for a folder called templates in the apps directory, our case base directory. It's going to look for the index.html file there. That's what we passed in here, and it's going to render that page. So I think I have a problem here. The body is not supposed to be there. Okay, so if I run this, that looks nice. But what if we actually want our templates folder to be inside here? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to settings.py, and inside the directories, I'm just going to say base_dir, that's base directory / templates. So now, essentially, what is all this doing? So the templates folder, as you can see, is in the same path of our manage.py file, which means it's in the base directory path. So the base directory is gotten for us originally up here. As you can see, Django already does that for us. It gets the path to this particular file in my computer directory. So base directory / templates, okay, is inside the templates directory. This is where we're going to be rendering all our templates from. So if I go back and I rerun this, you're going to see that we have a nice HTML page, even as our templates folder is not in our base.html folder. Sorry, it's not in our base folder. Hopefully you get all that, but I just wanted to show you that it was possible to have templates outside the apps folder. And remember, this apps direct must not be equal to false. So you can also have templates inside the base folder here. Everything will still work normally. So I think I'm going to leave it like this. I'm going to be working with it like this. And in here, we're going to be doing the thing that actually brought us to this video, which is collecting post data. So I'm going to close this out, go back to your views. You're going to see right now we're getting get data. I'm just going to get rid of this for now so that go over here to URLs and just get rid of this too. And hopefully if I run this, yeah, it gives us that. So if you go over to your index.html file, I'm going to create a form. I'm going to fast forward through this because, as I said, I'm not teaching HTML. So I'm going to create a form with some inputs, and you can come back later and see what I've done. So I'm done with the form, a basic simple form. As you can see, form method post, yes, because we're sending a post request. If you don't set a method, it's going to be automatically set to get, or if you want to set it to get, you can just do get here. But since we want to post data, we're going to use post. So the next thing is the action, and I didn't indicate that there. So by default, the action is going to be set to this particular URL that is rendering that particular page. So if this was like slash sign up like that, it's going to, the HTML is automatically going to set it to post to this particular route, which is really nice. Or if you want it to post on a different route, you can do action equals to probably slash login or something else. As I said, this is not a HTML tutorial, so I'm not going to be going extensively in that, but hopefully you get the point. So I have two input fields here. One is username, one is password, and the last one is a submit button. So I'm just going to run this, and you're going to see we have that kind of form here. So this is quite nice. So what next? Notice if I try to submit this form, you're going to see I get a forbidden error, 403 forbidden, CSRF failed. So CSRF meaning cross-site request forgery, and this is actually an ethical hacking problem, which I won't go deeply into, but I'll just tell you the overview. So sometimes you clicking other people's links can actually have effect on a website that you are already logged into, which can allow them to submit some data. So Django already helps us go around that. So if you go back here, um, to actually get rid of that error, what you're going to do is in here, you put curly brackets like this, and you put two percentage signs and do CSRF underscore token. This now introduces in another input field into this form, which is actually going to be hidden. You're not going to be seeing it, but it's going to help you so that when Django is sending the request back, Django itself is going to verify that CSRF token and essentially help you block any request that is not from the site that you're making, or like the site, the original site. So hopefully you get what I mean, but if you didn't, I recommend you rewind that part and rewatch it and hear me say it again and again until it sinks in. If you still get confused after like 4 or 5 times, you can go online and search CSRF cross-site request forgery. Probably a 3, 4, 5 minutes video is going to explain that to you. That aside, now if I click the submit button, you're going to see it just refreshes the page and it doesn't have any problem. And if I open my developer tools here, I just hit Ctrl Shift I on my keyboard, or you can go over here to more tools. If you're using Chrome anyways, and go over here to more tools and you're going to see developer tools. Yeah, that's it. So anyways, remember when I said it's great a new input type for us? Yeah, that's it. Inputs hidden, CSRF, middleware token, all this stuff. So this value now is actually quite unique, and only our Django project can decode whatever that is. Hopefully you get the point of this CSRF movement. And yeah, most of the time it's quite easy for you to forget to add the CSRF token. It happens a lot, so don't ever feel bad if you don't add it. So now we have successfully created the HTML part, so it's time to get that data from the post request. So here on the index view, I'm just going to reload this. Going to get rid of this. Yeah, just reload this. What's the problem? Say X not defined. Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah. So now if I type in a username and password here, I want to be able to get it here on my view. So this view gets all kinds of requests. You can pass in the get request here, you can pass in the post request here. So we want to actually isolate that post request and work on it separately. So what we're going to do is we're going to say if request the method equal to post in capital letters, then we want to do something. So if it's a get request, you just pass that and render the page. But if it's a post request, we probably like we want to print the username to the console or something. So what we can do is here we can just get the username data. So we can say username is going to be equal to request dot post dot get, and in here the name of your inputs on this index.html. So right now I haven't set it actually, so I'm going to put in another attribute called name, and I'm just going to say username. Note that this is what the server is going to use to like get the data from it. So over here, name equals to password. So if I go back here, I'm going to get the username, and note that if you don't set this name over here in the inputs, you're not going to be able to get the username here. So if I set this here to user, in here I'll have to pass in user. Hopefully you get the point. Then now for the password, I'm going to say request the post dot get, and in here password. So we have successfully gotten the username and password. To those that are not really that familiar with Python, this .get is actually a function you can call on a dictionary. So what I'm trying to say is, if we print up here, if we print request.post, you're going to see it's going to give us a dictionary. So I'm just going to do that. Print request.post, yeah, posts, capital letters. So it's going to give us a dictionary, and you can get whatever value you want. Just in case, I'm just trying to show you, in case you want to use any method of your choice to get the stuff from the dictionary. So, oh well, we can now print username and password. So if I go back here and I refresh this, no changes. So if I go here and type in a username, let's just say Davis dev, and in here I'm just going to pass in password. And if I submit, you go over here, you can see the request.post, which is a query dict, but also a dictionary. And over here, we have the username and the password. Hopefully you get the point. This is how to get data from the post request from a view. I hope you've learned something helpful. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.